Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, bringing you this fan-based but band-endorsed. That's right, endorsed by Uriah Heep themselves, which is super cool. Today, we're talking about the re-recording of the song Return to Fantasy from the album Return to Fantasy. And I originally reviewed this back on March 18th of 2021, as I'm recording this on March 16th of 2023, nearly 2 years to the day. Although last time I reviewed two versions, this time I'm only reviewing one because there's only one to review. But this came off the band's 8th album. It was the opening track, so season 8, show 1. And boy, this takes me back. It feels like forever ago since I reviewed this song. But really excited to get into this version and see what they did with the re-recording of it. So let's just jump right in. Here's Return to Fantasy. Okay, that's weird. I'm not sure what exactly that is because it's not a delay. It feels like maybe that's the slap back of the room coming back into the mics. Yeah, very interesting. Well, I mean, the song just starts on fire right off the bat. Great tempo, definitely has a very energetic feel to it. I was thinking that was Mick on guitar, and it may be, but I also wonder if that might be Phil on keyboard playing the lead there. Not really sure. Definitely hearing the Hammond. Everything's great. Nice shuffle, of course. One of the best shuffles, in my opinion, that the band's ever done. And let's just see where it goes from here. I'm always amazed for a bigger guy just how fast Lee was as a player. Very strong, very precise, great finesse player for sure. But he could hit too. And that was great. Love the tempo of this. Really like that buildup before the vocals came in. And I have to say, I love the way Bernie is singing here. He's singing with more style than power. And this is one of those songs, especially at this tempo, like it could just drive you to really push everything. And he's not. He's laying back a little bit and singing a little bit more controlled, which I really like for this. And you have to think too, if you're playing these songs at this tempo, you know, for the show, it's gonna take a lot out of you by even halfway through the night, not to mention a full night. And sometimes you throw an extra song in there or two just because that's what you do. So, you have to lay back a little bit here and there. It doesn't feel like he's laid back in the way that he's not giving 100% of the song. He's just not driving and grinding with every fiber because he doesn't have to make the song sound good. And I like that he's not here. Everything else sounds great. Like the guitar organ mix is really good. I can hear the bass. Trevor's playing is fantastic as always. This is a really good version. And still, here's another great example of Bernie just singing this the way that he would sing it. The way that he sang Moonlight Night after Moonlight Night, I really liked that. That was a nice change. Definitely was unexpected. It made it more interesting, just because I was ready for it to be, the way I'm used to hearing it. The one thing that's a bit of a challenge for me not to do a comparison to the original version on this is the effects. There was just a certain effect on the vocals that they used in the studio version that really kind of defined the song a little bit for me. So not having those is a little bit strange. The backing vocals, though, sound so good. They almost feel like they have that effect without actually having it. And I'm still not sure whether it was really a vocal effect or what Ken was playing along with them on the keyboard that gave it that sort of, I don't even know what the right word is. It's kind of a shimmery sound, I want to say, although that doesn't feel like the right word. Affected. I'll just say vocal effect, for lack of a better term. And, as experienced I am as an audio engineer, I have no idea what they do on that song. Could be effect that just isn't used anymore or done in a way that isn't, hasn't continued on through the modern day. Whatever it was, I absolutely loved what they did. So it's kind of weird to not have that. But definitely this song, I don't feel like it's missing anything as it is. Like, had I not heard the original version, had I just heard this, I don't think it's lacking for anything. Okay, I full disclosure, that has to be one of the coolest drum fills I've ever heard, like ever. And I'm a drummer.
And then in every man there's a need to unwind. It's never been defined. Somewhere deep within there's another being you are somehow abusing by the person you're using. Moonlight night after moonlight night, side by side they will see us ride. But if they cared to look, then they would see our return to fantasy. Fantasy. Oh yeah.
As we continue on through the rest of this chorus, really take a listen to the backing vocals. They're not very much in the front of the mix, which is good, but boy, they just sound gorgeous. Boy, there was something really interesting about Mick's picking there. It wasn't, but it kind of felt like it was off time. I don't know exactly what it was about it that stood out. It's a really cool part, and I like the sound of his guitar, but there's just something about the feel of the way he played that really stood out to me. I like it, though. It took me by surprise.
Faster than lightning, closer than ever before. We can go on for you and take it nearer to the legend of mystery from the beginning of time. We can.
I did sound like the vocal effect was there on the backing vocals there, really slightly. I'm still not quite sure what it is. It's almost it's not quite a flange or a rotary sound. It's almost like a combination of the two, like a very slight flange with a rotary on it. But I don't know if that's what it is. It's just what's coming to mind at the moment. But it does sound like they did put something in there.
Turn to the land of the good and the kind. Time. Why don't you come to the party and open your mind?
love Trevor's playing on this. It just really is driving the song. I mean, it's not hard to drive a shuffle at a good tempo, especially like this, even a little slower. But there's just something about the way he's playing. It's like just really powerful and kind of chunky but smooth at the same time. Such a skilled player. Well, it was a cool build up to the end, but then it just ended, and I kind of feel like I was left out of something. I want more. I don't know. I feel like this could have used some kind of concert ending because it was such an epic and powerful song. It just leaves me wanting more, which, I mean, that's a good thing because I'm sure they're going to go into another song from here. I don't know if the order of what we're hearing on this album is the order that they would be performing these. They could have been placed, really just to flow as far as the album release goes. And that may not be how the concert is because they really are two different animals. So hard to say. But in any case, I thought this was great. Really energetic, fantastic performances from everyone. And, I've talked through the season about, trying not to do comparisons when it's not necessary and other than the effect. Really tried to not think about the original version, just really focus in on this one. And I have to say, if I had heard this on its own, I would have thought it was a great song. Definitely something I would listen to again in this form. Has that live feel to it, but still that, that clean studio sound. So it's a good combination of both, but great drive from everybody. Fantastic playing. Phil was great on the keyboards. Everything just thumbs up for this one. So that will do it for today's episode. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday show. Have a great day, everybody. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!